In this video, I'm going to discuss the 4 types of audit report, and we're starting right now. What's up? My name is Ron and I'm a certified public accountant and also a former external auditor. If this is your first time in this channel and if you're looking for fun, engaging, and easy to understand tutorial videos about accounting and related topics, you've come to the right place, so start now by hitting the like button, sharing this video to your friends, and hitting the subscribe button and bell notification icon so you won't miss anything. Now, as I've said earlier in this video, I'm going to discuss kung ano ang 4 types of audit report, and this is gonna be ledger, wait for it, dairy. There are actually 4 types of audit opinion which an auditor may issue in his auditor report, namely yung unqualified opinion, qualified opinion, adverse opinion, and disclaimer of opinion. Now, I'm going to discuss each of these types of opinion one by one, as well as kung ano ba ang factors or ang mga nagiging dahilan ng auditor para ito ang i-issue niya. The first type of audit opinion is the unqualified opinion, or in layman's term, ito yung tinatawag na clean opinion. It is the most common type of opinion issued by an auditor, and it is also the type of opinion na sa point of view ng isang audit client ay gugustuhin niyang ma-receive. Ibig sabihin nito bro, the auditors are satisfied with the audit client's financial statements. Ibig sabihin, the auditors believe that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework na ginamit as criteria. In all material respects, meaning it doesn't mean that the financial statements are 100% error-free. Possible na during the audit may mga na-encounter na errors ang auditor, pero these errors are immaterial or not material enough in order to affect the decision-making of the users of the financial statements. Thus, the financial statements are still considered fairly presented in all material respects. So for instance, if the existing errors are clearly trivial misstatements or possibly below the materiality level, considered pa rin as fairly presented ang financial statements. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin kapag sinabi natin na unqualified? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, kapag sinabi nating unqualified bro, ibig sabihin, it is not modified or restricted by reservations. So ibig sabihin ba, merong type of opinion na fairly presented naman ng financial statements pero merong reservations or modifications ang auditor? Yes bro, at ito ang tinatawag natin na qualified opinion. Ang qualified opinion naman ay ini-issue ng auditor if based on sufficient and appropriate evidence ay nakonclude niya na may material misstatements sa financial statements. Pero, these misstatements, although material, ay hindi naman pervasive. Material, ibig sabihin bro, it can affect or impact the decision-making of the users of the financial statements. Now, ano naman yung ibig sabihin bro kapag sinabi natin na pervasive? According to Merriam-Webster again bro, pervasive means existing in or spreading through every part of something. Ibig sabihin bro, kapag sinabi mong ang isang misstatement sa financial statements ay pervasive, ibig sabihin ang epekto nito bro ay kalat sa financial statements, or ibig sabihin, hindi siya isolated into a single area. So kapag nag-issue ng report si auditor, ang sasabihin niya ay fairly presented naman ang financial statements except for the possible effects of the material but not pervasive misstatements na ilalagay niya sa basis for qualified opinion section ng audit report. Ibig sabihin, sa madaling salita, kapag nag-issue ng qualified opinion ang auditor, all areas of the financial statements except for those areas in which the auditor has reservations are considered as fairly presented in all material respects by the auditor. This is precisely the reason why this is called qualified, dahil merong reservation or qualification ng auditor, while kapag naman clean ang report, ang tawag ay unqualified dahil walang reservation or qualification ang auditor. Now, ano naman ang tinatawag na adverse opinion? Kapag sinabi mong adverse bro, ibig sabihin the financial statements are not fairly presented in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Ito naman bro ang klase ng opinion na binibigay ng auditor kapag ang misstatements ay both material at pervasive. Kung mapapansin mo kapag qualified opinion, the misstatement is material pero not pervasive. Kapag adverse opinion, the misstatement is both material and also pervasive. Now, if we're going to be technical, according to the Philippine Standards on Auditing or PSA 705, a material misstatement is considered pervasive when the effect of the misstatement is not confined to specific elements, accounts, or items of the financial statements. For example, let's say that the auditor determined na si audit client meron siyang mga office tables and chairs na for some reason, in-account niya as inventory pero dapat ito sana ay accounted as property, plant, and equipment. So, pervasive ba to? Definitely. Dahil sinama as inventory ang items of PPE, overstated ang ending inventory balance at understated ang cost of goods sold and therefore overstated ang net income. In addition, understated ang PPE tapos understated din ang depreciation expense and overstated ang net income. Imagine bro, madaming naapektuhan na elements, accounts, or items of the financial statements. Ito yung halimbawa ng tinatawag natin na pervasive effect or ibig sabihin niya yung effect ng misstatement ay nagkalat yan sa iba't ibang parte ng financial statements. Or, according also to PSA, it is also possible that the misstatement is confined pero the misstatement represent or could represent a substantial proportion of the financial statements. The misstatement is confined pero the misstatement represent or could represent a substantial proportion of the financial statements. For example, if the audit client is engaged in merchandising business, let's say that 50% of the total assets ay inventory tapos may material misstatement sa inventory, ibig sabihin kapag tinignan mo ngayon ng financial statements as a whole, although nasa inventory lang naman yung misstatement, naaapektuhan niya yung whole picture na pinoportray ng financial statements. So remember, kapag material pero hindi pervasive ang misstatement, qualified opinion. Kapag material tapos pervasive din, adverse opinion. Lastly, ano naman yung tinatawag natin na disclaimer of opinion? Basically, a disclaimer of opinion is a statement made by an auditor that no opinion is being given regarding the financial statements of the audit client. Ibig sabihin bro, hindi nagbigay ng opinion si auditor. So kailan naman to nangyayari? Ang auditor ay nagdi-disclaim ng opinion if he is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence on which to base the opinion, and the auditor concludes that the possible effects on the financial statements of undetected misstatements, if any kung meron man, could be both material and pervasive. So for instance possible kasi na si audit client hindi maayos yung kanyang documentation ng mga transactions nila. So kapag nag-request si auditor, wala silang ma-provide na audit evidence. Or possible din naman na si audit client ayaw ibigay yung mga request ni auditor or nililimit yung kanyang access. O kaya naman, possible din kasi na madaming transactions or accounts si audit client na may involvement or ginagamitan ng judgments as to recognition or measurement. Tapos hindi kayang i-justify ng management ni audit client kung paano ba sila nag-arrive dito sa judgments na ito. Okay bro, so before we end, let's just recap the 4 types of audit opinion. First is the unqualified opinion, which is the clean report, meaning the financial statements are considered as fairly presented in all material respects. Second, the qualified opinion, which means that the financial statements are considered as fairly presented except for the potential effects of material but not pervasive misstatements as stated in the basis for qualified opinion section of the audit report. Third is the adverse opinion, which means that the financial statements are not considered as fairly presented for reasons stated in the basis for adverse opinion section of the audit report. And lastly, the disclaimer, which means that the auditor was unable to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence on which to base his opinion, and the auditor concludes that the possible effects on the financial statements of undetected misstatements, if any kung meron man, could be both material and pervasive. And that's it for this video. I hope marami kang natutunan. If you learned and liked what you saw, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, share this video to your timeline, and hit the subscribe button and bell notification icon para lagi kang updated pag may bago akong video. Also, if you have feedback, questions, or suggestions, feel free to comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Again, my name is Ron, I'm a certified public accountant and former external auditor, and see you in another episode of Ledger Wait for it, dairy!